In the darkness 240 feet below the surface, the Nord Stream pipeline snakes along the Baltic seabed. For a decade, it pumped billions of cubic feet of natural gas from Russia to Europe, until, on the morning of September 26, 2022, four undersea explosions ripped 60-foot holes in Nord Stream, sending gas pouring into the ocean and leaving the pipeline crippled for years. Make no mistake, this was a sophisticated military operation. Only a handful of countries have the technology to pull off something like this. Fewer still could do it and escape undetected. Though our government implies Russia is to blame, that's a bald-faced lie. You're about to see why I am now certain President Joe Biden ordered the Nord Stream attack, and his mistake is about to plunge us all into hell. Welcome to Biden's American Energy Armageddon. My name is Jim Rickards. I'm a former advisor to the CIA, Department of Defense, and the White House. In a moment, you'll have my own evidence that very few people have seen. You'll see how I believe two acts of Democrat stupidity are about to combine into a storm that will change America forever, the American Energy Armageddon. Because of their idiotic mistakes, I predict we'll soon endure crippling fuel shortages, widespread Biden blackouts, energy bills rocketing to $1,000, empty grocery store shelves, spiking inflation, an economic collapse, and crime and violence hitting terrifying new heights. In a moment, you'll see the disturbing evidence for why I believe Biden's energy Armageddon is now inevitable, and it could last 10 years. Friend, I recommend you do these three things now. 1. Get a high-quality firearm and know how to use it. 2. Prepare a survival stash for 3 months of food, water, and a portable heat source. 3. Watch this short presentation before it's shut down, because you'll see a step-by-step guide to not just survive the storm, but because of certain opportunities brought on by the crisis, which I'll show you in a moment, you can potentially grow your own personal wealth, even while most of America suffers. In fact, due to specific circumstances created by the Armageddon, it's possible you could now win big while others lose. You see, there's a universal truth. In times of crisis, money moves. During the coming energy Armageddon, most Americans will face new hardship, but not all. A few will win, and win big. You're about to see how the energy Armageddon could create a one-time opportunity to secure new substantial wealth. If you want in, keep watching. In a moment, you'll see my evidence pointing to two colossal Democrat blunders. 1. Calamity Joe Biden's Nord Stream bombing that started the dominoes falling and will cause historic suffering for good Americans. Expect blackouts, fuel shortages, empty shelves, and skyrocketing energy bills. And 2. AOC's Green New Deal, which is about to be exposed as the ultimate lie and scam. These two clueless Dem moves will plunge our country into the energy Armageddon. In fact, much of it is already underway. No matter how difficult some of this may be to watch, I'm going to show you everything right here. You see, there's a fact no one seems to be talking about. Right now, today, America is running out of gas, diesel, and oil. Our national fuel reserves are down 50% or more from where they should be. It's so urgent, major suppliers are calling it a code red emergency. We don't have the refinery capacity to catch up, and we're shipping most of what we have to Europe to bail them out of Calamity Joe's Nord Stream crisis. We're now facing catastrophic fuel shortages I predict will collapse our nation's energy grid. When it happens, every citizen will see firsthand the Dems' obsession with green energy is a scam. In fact, I'm going to show you my evidence that outs them as shameless hypocrites. That's not all. I predict the storm will bring about a new social order to our country. Many who are now rich will find their accounts drained. Those who are poor will turn to desperate measures to survive. I'm talking about civil unrest, a massive crime wave, and violence in our streets. Most will suffer under Biden's energy Armageddon, but not everyone. Some Americans will win. They'll take advantage of wealth-building opportunities created by the upheaval, which I'll reveal here today, to vastly improve their personal economic situation. And that's the most important thing I want to share with you. Now, if the idea of winning while others suffer makes you uncomfortable, no problem. This presentation may not be for you. But the way I see it, our great nation was built during times of crisis when a smart few recognized opportunity and seized it. If you see the storm coming, if you know Calamity Joe and his ilk are steering us straight into it, and you want to not just survive it, but thrive by using the crisis to potentially grow your personal wealth, then you're exactly who I want to reach today. Give me about 3 minutes of your time. I'm going to show you everything right now. Again, my name is Jim. I'm a former advisor to the Pentagon, the White House, the CIA, and the Department of Defense. I'm also an attorney, investment banker, and author of 7 books on currencies and international economics. When places like Fox, CNBC, or Bloomberg want to know what's about to shake the global economy, they call me. I have a master's degree in international economics and another in taxation. I got my law degree from the University of Pennsylvania Law School. I worked at the highest levels of Wall Street and international finance for 40 years. I held senior positions at Citibank, Caxton Associates, and the hedge fund Long-Term Capital Management. I've been inside the West Wing of the White House. I helped negotiate the end of the Iranian hostage crisis for the Reagan administration. I've attended strategic sessions in the vaults, the secure meeting rooms inside the Pentagon. Here's a photo of me there. This is all I'm allowed to show you of the inside. In fact, I hosted the first ever financial war games for the Pentagon. I've been asked to the CIA director's secure conference room on the 7th floor of Langley headquarters. I've been inside the U.S. Treasury and spoke privately with Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner. I've been invited into the Federal Reserve and had conversations with Ben Bernanke. Here's a snapshot of our discussion. I'm not bragging about my background, and I've never sought the limelight. I just want you to know I'm not a pundit or a media personality. I've walked the walk for more than 4 decades now, and the urgent predictions you're about to see are based on my personal experience, research, and contacts in the intelligence community. But most of all, like you, I'm a proud American patriot. By watching this far, you've already shown me that you are too, and you're a lot smarter than most. That's why I want you to win during the coming Energy Armageddon. To start, I need to show you the evidence of why I am now sure Calamity Joe Biden was behind the attack on the Nord Stream pipeline, and why his mistake has set in motion a series of events which will launch a devastating energy crisis inside our own country. Here's how it all happened. On September 26th, the undersea Nord Stream gas pipeline was sabotaged. 4 explosions blew huge chunks of metal and concrete into the ocean, tearing 60-foot holes in the pipeline. It's going to be out of service for years, and no one has claimed responsibility for the bombing. Of course, Biden's people are implying Russia did it. They're finger-pointing, they're name-calling, but that's all they're doing. They don't seem to have any proof, after all. If Russia did it, don't you think we would know? Wouldn't Biden have produced the evidence by now? Look at a map of where the pipeline blew up. It's a choke point between the Baltic Sea and the North Sea, with Denmark, Poland, Germany, and all these NATO countries sitting right there. If Russia had done it, they would have been detected, and the Biden administration would have released the evidence. Hey, look, we've got it. Here's the Russian aircraft launching a torpedo right at the pipeline. Of course, questioning their official version of the bombing is being called un-American by the mainstream media, but that can't stop what I believe is the truth. And many foreign policy and military experts are now pointing the finger at the Biden administration. The world-renowned research group called the Cato Institute said, Russia is being charged without evidence, so it makes sense to consider other suspects, and Washington tops the list. For years, the U.S. objective toward Nord Stream 2 was simple, to destroy it. U.S. officials have glorified their apparent role in killing Russian generals, sinking a Russian ship, and otherwise destroying Russian equipment and killing Russian personnel. Damaging a pipeline that enriches Moscow would be a modest step in comparison. Brilliant economist and Columbia University professor Jeffrey Sachs was brave enough to agree. Quote, there is considerable circumstantial evidence that the destruction of Nord Stream is a U.S. operation, perhaps with other NATO countries. The evidence at this stage points towards the U.S. as the most likely cause of the events. There are many reports of U.S. aircraft overflying the region of the pipeline in the hours before the explosion, Professor Sachs added. Tucker Carlson of Fox News agreed on air Russia had no reason to bomb their own pipeline. And of course, there's Biden basically admitting to the attack on video. I'm talking about this interview done 3 weeks before Russia invaded Ukraine.
Germany, if Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
If that's not a smoking gun, I don't know what is. There's more. After all, why would Russia blow up their own pipeline? It makes no sense. In fact, it would be moronic. Losing the pipeline has cost Russia the best leverage they had. After all, they controlled it. They could have turned the pipeline on and off at will, And that's exactly what they had been doing. Germany and most of Europe depended on Russian gas to heat homes, businesses, and drive their economy. When Russia controlled their gas supply, they held the cards. Russia could have said, "Hey, Germany, sure is a cold winter, isn't it? Your people are freezing in their homes. You want some cheap gas to make it all better? Okay, then why don't you separate yourself from the United States? Why don't you ease up on the financial sanctions? And then we'll turn the gas back on." If you're Russia, that's a very powerful form of leverage. So why would you blow up your own pipeline? Why would you give up that leverage? And the answer is, you wouldn't. The bottom line is Russia had nothing to gain by destroying their only real international leverage in the war. And if they had, we would have known about it. That leads me to the conclusion, it had to be us. But what would Biden gain from taking out Nord Stream? Well, there are two big reasons. Number one, as the Cato Institute said, with the Biden administration committed to a brutal proxy war against Moscow, Washington wants to deter any defections from the Allied cause. Given its dependence on Russia and burden of higher energy prices, Berlin is perhaps Europe's weakest link. How to keep Germany in line? Shut down its natural gas supplies. That's right. I believe Biden bombed Nord Stream to stop Germany from caving to Russia, because Germans are going to freeze in the dark in winter. Germany is as far north as Canada, and they got almost 60% of their heating fuel from Russia, mainly through Nord Stream. Now, without Russian gas to heat their homes, businesses, and make electricity, Germany is in big trouble, and they know it. Germans were out there in the woods chopping down trees for firewood. They're that worried they won't have heat or electricity, and they're probably right about that. They even considered a special government task force to decide who gets heat and who doesn't. The U.S. media isn't really covering it, but this is all happening. When things get bad, and they're going to get bad, Germany might have peeled away from the U.S. coalition. They could have done a separate peace deal with Russia. Okay, our people are freezing in the dark. We'll ease up here if you give us some gas. Now, by blowing up the pipeline, Biden took that option off the table. Plus, Germany is the big fish of Europe. If they made a separate deal with Russia, the rest of Europe would surely follow, quickly. European gas prices overall have risen 15 times since 2021. Europeans demonstrated in Paris, Berlin, all over Europe. 70,000 people marched in Prague. All these people are asking, what the heck are you doing in Ukraine? Why are you supporting this instead of your own people? So you're looking at social unrest, political turmoil, economic collapse, all coming out of the Ukraine situation. Not only that, food shortages and in some cases famine will follow. Russia and Ukraine account for a huge percentage of the total global food supply, but that's been destroyed by sanctions and the war. We know enough to now predict much higher prices, empty shelves, and in some cases mass starvation. Freezing in the dark while starving is not a situation anyone should take lightly. If Nord Stream was still operational, I predict Europe would have caved to Russia. Biden couldn't let that happen. That's the first reason I am convinced the U.S. was behind the Nord Stream bombings. Here's Nord Stream bombing reason number two. Europe is now forced to buy our gas. Basically, Biden is thinking, if there's no Nord Stream, who are you going to call? Europe is desperate for gas and heat in winter. They will need us or they will freeze. The media have made a big deal celebrating how European gas storage tanks were almost full before winter. But that's so misleading, it's basically a lie. Even if they were completely full, their storage tanks were only a fraction of what they actually need to survive a winter. Germany's tanks hold only about 20% of what they typically use. And this is true for almost all of Europe. Their storage tanks won't save them. If the mainstream media did just a little bit of research, they'd know that. The fact is, Europe needs an ongoing regular supply of new fuel, or it will freeze in the dark. Now that Nord Stream isn't an option, Biden knows Europe will suck up all the liquid natural gas we have. But here's the problem. This move was suicidal on the part of the United States. Biden has put Europe's needs ahead of those in his own country because there's another disturbing fact the U.S. media has somehow failed to notice. We don't have enough fuel for ourselves. We are running out, and no one's talking about it. U.S. supplies of gas, oil, and petrol are critically low. While Biden emptied our strategic petroleum reserves for political gain, our other fuel supplies were also running out. Heading into winter, heating oil and diesel reserves in the Northeast were almost 60% down from where they should be, 60% too low. Have you heard that on the mainstream news? I heard Jay Young, president of King Operating Corporation, say in an interview, because of the shortage, we're going to see prices go up. And if we run out, prices will skyrocket. That's not good for the American people. Not only that, the U.S. was down to having just 25 days of diesel fuel before the tanks run dry. If we run out of diesel, the supply chain for our entire country will collapse. I'm talking shortages and extreme price hikes for food, good, heating fuel, you name it. Diesel supplier Mansfield Energy called it a code red emergency. Can you see how Biden's energy Armageddon is well underway? There's more. Because of Biden's Nord Stream blunder, we're now sending 60% of all the liquid natural gas we export to Europe. Let me repeat that. Most of the Americans' liquid natural gas exports are now being sent to bail out Europe. That will cause shortages and blackouts for us, because when cold hits the Northeast, people burn more gas to heat their homes. But with so much going to bail out Europe, less gas will now be available for electric plants, and that means blackouts. New England governors are already telling their citizens to get ready for Biden blackouts. Think about it. In the depths of winter, innocent Americans will sit in their freezing, dark houses, no light, no heat, no ability to cook food or keep it from spoiling, not to mention the price hikes that will come with it. Because of how much of our gas is going to Europe, if suppliers get short, it's possible your monthly bills could rise to $1,000 or more at a time when so many Americans are already feeling financially strapped. Could you afford that? It makes you ask, why is Biden making Europe's problems our problems? Putin must be laughing out loud about Biden's Nord Stream blunder. He couldn't have wished for a better present from Calamity Joe. Biden thought he was securing European support for the war, but now he won't be able to escape the disaster he's created. Europe will pay through the nose to keep getting our fuel at prices our states, cities, and towns can't afford, and we'll face fuel shortages, spiking bills and energy costs, and Biden blackouts. Americans will freeze in their homes this winter. Worst of all, the energy Armageddon will last for years. In fact, Belgium's Prime Minister, Alexander De Croo, said Europe should prepare itself for up to 10 difficult winters. That's 10 years of fuel shortages, blackouts, and sky-high bills. And he said that before Biden's bombing of Nord Stream. Okay, so far I've shown you my evidence for how Calamity Joe is behind the idiotic Nord Stream bombing, how he used it to keep Germany and the rest of Europe loyal to us, how we're bailing them out with most of our liquid natural gas, even though our own fuel supplies are critically low. And now I predict Biden's blunders are going to smack good Americans in our homes. With energy bills we can't pay, fuel shortages and potential rationing, empty grocery shelves, blackouts and brownouts, economic turmoil, and drained retirement accounts. Thanks to Biden and the Dems' failed policies, Europe's energy crisis will be our energy crisis. The American energy Armageddon is almost here. But that's not the most important reason I wrote you today. I want to help you win. We can't escape the storm, but not all is lost. If you know exactly what to do, the energy Armageddon could still create a one-time opportunity for you to grow your personal wealth. Why? Just watch this. There's one fact you'll never hear from AOC, Calamity Joe, or the Green Energy Brigade. The United States energy supply should never be impacted by any other country or government, and we should never face an oil shortage or sky-high gasoline prices, because the truth is, the United States is the most oil-rich country on the planet. We shouldn't ever need to rely on any other country because we are sitting on the largest supply of recoverable oil on the planet. I'm serious. When you look at the most likely estimates for proved, probable, possible, and undiscovered oil fields, the United States tops the list. As of a 2019 study, we are sitting on 263 billion barrels of recoverable oil reserves. That's more than Saudi Arabia, that's more than Russia, that's more than any other country on the planet. We are at the top of the list. America is rich with untapped oil. If we accessed our reserves, if the government opened up our own fields to benefit our own people and stopped handcuffing American oil companies at current rates of use, we'd have enough oil for the next 63 years without importing a single drop from anyone else. Forget Russia. Forget the Saudis. Forget the brutal dictator in Venezuela Biden is now in bed with. This is something you never hear the Dems talk about. The most oil anywhere on Earth is right here for the taking. But that's not all. We also have the fifth largest reserves of natural gas on Earth. That's about 2,926 trillion cubic feet of recoverable gas under the United States. At current rates of use, that could last us another 98 years. So what the heck is going on? Why are we going to suffer through blackouts, sky-high energy and food bills, fuel poverty, and energy Armageddon? Simple. Because of AOC, Biden, and the Democrats' Green New Deal, what I call the Green New Scam. Because there's a big problem with their proposal. Green or renewable energy doesn't work, and I'm convinced it will bankrupt our country. You don't hear the Dems talking about that, do you? Critics say the Green New Scam could cost American taxpayers as much as $93 trillion. That's trillion with a T. That's more than the entire annual GDP of the United States 4 times over, or about $600,000 from every household, all paid by the American taxpayers like you and me. But that hasn't stopped them. On his inauguration day, Calamity Joe bypassed Congress and the American people and signed multiple executive orders targeting the American energy industry. Biden announced he was going to get rid of all fossil fuels in our energy grid by 2035. Sure thing, Joe. But someone should have told him that in 2021, only a mere 15% of U.S. electricity came from wind and solar power. And there's a reason for that. They're not very good. Wind turbines don't work when the wind doesn't blow. Solar panels don't generate electricity at night or in bad weather. As sources of energy, they are intermittent and unreliable. Both can contribute to the energy grid, but neither can support the grid. And here's another thing Biden, AOC, and the Dems haven't seemed to grasp. A modern electric grid requires a constant minimum baseload of power just to keep operating. That baseload can be provided by coal, oil, natural gas, or nuclear power, but it cannot be provided by wind or solar. Hitching our future to this technology is suicide for America. How am I so sure? Because I own the largest private solar farm in New England. Unlike AOC and Biden, I actually know what I'm talking about. And like all Americans, I have no problem with so-called renewable energy in theory, and I'll welcome it with open arms when the technology catches up, when it's a reliable, dependable source of our energy. But that day isn't today. We're far from that. But that hasn't stopped the Greeniacs from hurting and even killing Americans. Just look at what happened in Texas. Politicians in Texas brought into the Green New scam. They built a whole bunch of wind turbines and solar panels to generate electricity for their power grid. Well, guess what? They got some really cold weather and the wind turbines froze solid. The power went out. Blackouts rolled across the state, and hundreds of people froze to death in their own homes. Then came the summer. The wind didn't blow. Once again, the turbines couldn't make electricity. So in the middle of dangerous heat waves, Texans were asked to turn off their air conditioning and ration their electricity use or even face more blackouts and even more Americans dying. It's a testament to political stupidity that the state with the greatest energy reserves after Alaska cannot generate electricity and suffers blackouts and deaths because of its blind dependence on unreliable wind and solar sources. Dems think this is the future of energy in America? You can see why I call it the Green New scam. And of course, there's California. California liberals love to brag about how smart and green they are. In August 2022, California passed a law banning the sale of cars and trucks that run on gasoline or diesel beginning in 2035. Just buy electric cars, they said. A few days later, it gets hot. Next thing you know, California announces their green power grid is unstable. They warn of rolling blackouts. And then they tell people not to charge their electric cars. You can't make this stuff up. The fact is, so-called green energy, wind, solar, geothermal, just does not work. As former Federal Energy Regulatory Commission Chairman Neil Chatterjee told Fox News, we have prioritized green energy over reliability, and sadly, it's going to take catastrophic events to recalibrate things. Not to mention, wind and solar farms kill millions of birds and wildlife, and wind turbines are now linked to serious health problems in people. While we sit on the largest reserves of energy anywhere on Earth, none of this information is hard to find. You can be sure Dems know all of this. Of course, that hasn't stopped them from padding their pockets. After all, the entire green energy industry survives on handouts from taxpayers like me and you in the form of tax subsidies. In 2017 alone, the industry was given an estimated $11.6 billion in tax support. So to keep the handouts coming, the green energy industry throws money at Dems. Almost 80% of the industry's campaign contributions go to Democrats. But the Dems' ideological support of green energy isn't just idiotic, it's hypocritical. Because while they're lining their pockets with campaign dollars from the green energy industries, they're also investing in reliable fossil fuels. Because though they'll never admit it, green energy is a scam and traditional forms of energy are not going away anytime soon. Here's the real kicker. An investigation found that nearly 24 Democratic lawmakers, these were the Greeniacs who had received gold star ratings from a major environmental group, were investing in oil, coal, and natural gas companies. Busted. Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat of California, is one of the original co-sponsors of the Green New scam. His wife owns up to $7.5 million worth of fossil fuel stocks, making Ro Khanna, by proxy, the second biggest fossil fuel investor in all of Congress. Another original co-sponsor is Representative Earl Blumenauer, Democrat of Oregon, who owns up to $5.3 million in Northwest Natural, a natural gas company. It doesn't stop. Green News Scam co-sponsor Representative Joe Kennedy, Democrat, Massachusetts, owns between $795,000 and $1,750,000 worth of stock in Chevron, ExxonMobil, NextEra Energy, and Schlumberger. In fact, congressional Democrats own up to $32.3 million in fossil fuel investments. Why are these greeniacs investing in traditional energy behind the scenes? Well, because they're liars and hypocrites, for one, but also because they are greedy and they know something their voters don't. They won't admit it, but Dems know they've screwed up. They see the failure of the Green News Scam. They know renewables like solar and wind can't support the grid. In fact, to cover their mistakes and avoid being exposed for their green lie, they're quietly backtracking. They're now opening up federal oil and gas fields. They're trying to keep it quiet, but I have the proof right here. According to official records, the Department of the Interior approved 3,557 new permits for oil and gas drilling on public lands in Biden's first year. That was about 1,000 more permits than during the first year of the Trump administration. Bet you haven't heard about that, right? Because Calamity Joe would do anything to avoid admitting Trump and smart Americans have been right all along. Look, there's just no question. Welcome to the glorious return of American energy. Traditional energy sources like fossil fuels are here to stay for many years to come. Which brings me to this. Why are Democrat elites the ones getting rich off this? Let's change that today. The way I see it, Biden's energy Armageddon could be a 10-year crisis. We'll face fuel shortages, insane prices, skyrocketing inflation, blackouts, violence, and empty retirement accounts. There's nothing I or anyone else can do to stop that now. But with turmoil comes opportunity. Do you want to suffer along with everyone else? Or instead, do you want to win? Money moves in times of crisis, so instead of being a victim to Biden's mistakes, why not potentially grow your current wealth by investing in the 4 companies positioned to exploit the crisis? I want to do my part to help good Americans like you weather the storm and come out a winner on the other side. While most people suffer from Dem mistakes, are you prepared to potentially grow your own wealth during this crisis? Let me show you exactly what to do right now. As we speak, there are 4 energy and technology companies developing energy solutions the whole world will soon be begging for. These 4 companies are at the right place at exactly the right time. I believe the energy crisis will be a windfall for these firms. And thanks to my experience at the highest levels of government, investment banking, and global economics, I know exactly who they are. While world economies are falling into recession, I believe these 4 companies are going to generate significant gains over the next 24 months. And if you get in now, you can ride the wave with them. That's why I'm going to give you all the details you need today. I believe we're looking at a new energy revolution. I'm talking about certain solutions and technologies that are just about ready for prime time, while the world economy will flounder over the next few years, bringing down the U.S. stock market with it. These few companies will thrive. They could be poised to be big winners during the energy Armageddon. And if I'm right, they could make some lucky investors very rich. I want you to win. Look, I've spent my 40-year career advising government and the financial industry. The CIA, the Department of Defense, and the White House turned to me for my global economic expertise. Investment banking put me on the front lines of the world's most volatile markets. I've been inside the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, Wall Street, the Pentagon, and everywhere major decisions are made. I don't say any of this to brag, but my experience and connections do give me a unique insight into the coming storm. And when it comes to showing you how to protect your wealth, you want someone with my credentials. Don't trust anyone with less. And I have good news today. You can still protect yourself, your family, and your money, and potentially grow your own personal wealth, even during the coming social and economic crisis. But there's one thing. You must act now. There's almost no time left. The storm clouds are gathering. Because of Calamity Joe's Nord Stream mistake, sending our needed fuel supplies to Europe, and Dems' blind allegiance to unreliable green energy, the energy Armageddon is almost here. Look, my eyes are wide open about the problems in America, but I love our country. Sadly, many people will suffer under Biden's energy Armageddon. That can't be helped now. But I want to help real Americans like you survive the storm and emerge stronger, smarter, and wealthier on the other side. That's why I've got something for you. You can't find this anywhere else on earth. A true game plan for surviving the energy Armageddon, for protecting your savings, for building new wealth from emerging energy technologies, for outsmarting the greeniacs, and potentially emerging stronger, safer, and wealthier than before. I've written up everything you need to know in a new report I call The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie. And through the special opportunity you'll get only in this presentation, I'm going to show you how to claim a copy today free. That's not a misprint. You'll pay nothing additional for this survival plan for the coming storm. I'll tell you how to claim your personal copy in just a moment. Here's why the Return of American Energy report is so valuable and so important. Because it's the only way to take advantage of my secret weapon. You see, I've used a special system to build my own personal wealth, one that works best during economic turmoil. I've developed a revolutionary way of looking at the financial system and stock markets. It uses something called complexity theory. It's unlike anything you've seen before. I estimate less than 10 people in the world know how to apply it. Complexity theory gives me insight on exactly how the coming energy Armageddon could play out, what stocks might fall in the crisis, and what stocks could rocket up in price. Of course, all investing does carry risk, and nothing is ever guaranteed in the markets, so we never recommend you invest more than you can afford to lose. However, my use of complexity theory was designed to find profit even during times of global turmoil, and that's why I've taken my best insights from the complexity theory system, which only a few people on Earth know how to use, plus my experience in the U.S. intelligence community, investment banking, and the global markets, and use them to write the Return of American Energy report for you. The Return of American Energy is designed to show you exactly how smart investors can survive and even thrive during the coming energy Armageddon. Now, of course, you don't have to do any of this, and you can sit back and trust our government to save you if you like. But by watching this full presentation, I know your eyes are wide open. You see, America will soon be transformed by the failures of the Dems' shameful agenda. Unless you know exactly how to defeat them, your investment accounts and retirement savings could be devastated in the coming storm. That's why today I'm going to share my full The Return of American Energy report with you. I feel it's my responsibility as a patriot and sovereign citizen. I've written up the full step-by-step game plan for not just surviving, but winning during Biden's energy Armageddon. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to claim your own copy of The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie report. Inside, you'll see step-by-step details on little-known energy companies identified using complexity theory that few experts currently see coming. Here's just one example of what you'll get. Have you ever heard of small modular reactors, or SMRs? SMRs are nuclear reactors that are smaller and much safer than conventional reactors. These things are amazing. I showed you how green energy fails to deliver reliable power to support a grid. That's why SMRs are a perfect option. They provide reliable, scalable power day in, day out. And in the next few years, I think they're going to change how much of the world, including the U.S., gets its energy. They could help save us during Biden's energy Armageddon. They'll be dropping them next to solar and wind farms. Another huge opportunity is putting them on brownfield sites to replace coal-fired power plants. Nuclear reactors are normally huge, complex, expensive utilities, but SMRs are simplified. They're almost completely built inside a factory, and you just ship them wherever you need them. Then you set them up module by module. One huge opportunity is dropping them into brownfield sites to replace coal-fired power plants, because nuclear is a reliable form of energy that can support a grid. SMRs are also much safer than the old-style nuclear reactors. In an accident, these things are designed to automatically shut down. The chance of radiation being released is basically non-existent, and SMRs emit hardly any carbon or greenhouse gases, so even the Greeniacs can't complain. They're going to be a game changer, and there's something else different about them. While huge nuclear plants are generally government-led and funded, most SMRs are being developed through private investment. That means you can still get in on them before they explode in value, but you have to know where to invest. About 70 companies are currently working on their own SMR. Most won't come to anything, but one is poised to win big from SMR technology. And if you get in on this company, it could feel like getting in on the ground floor at Apple or Tesla, because it's not just America that will be clamoring for these things. I predict they'll be huge in China, Canada, Europe, Africa, Asia, the developing world. But as of today, no one really knows a whole lot about them. That's why I put down everything you need about getting in on the best SMR stock in your personal copy of The Return of American Energy. This report is your private roadmap to winning during the coming energy Armageddon. Inside this report, which I'll send to you today at my own cost, I'll explain how to claim your personal copy in just a moment. I show you how SMRs will revolutionize energy production across the U.S. and the world. Which of the 4 different SMR technologies under development win out, and why? And how there is one company tied to developing SMRs, I believe that is both undervalued and now poised for major gains. If you're interested in getting in, inside your new report, I show you exactly how to invest in this company, including when to buy in and how you could walk away with big profits. That's just the start of what you'll get. I showed you already why the Greeniacs are clueless. Traditional energy sources like fossil fuels aren't going anywhere. America will soon need to turn back to them. Call it the revenge of the fossil fuels, if you like, because right now I'm watching 3 companies with innovative solutions in oil and gas, refining and pipelines, Appalachian coal, and the Marcellus shale gas region that I believe will gain big over the next few years. I believe you'll have the chance to ride their winds if you follow exactly what I show you in the Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie. Here's what I mean. Inside the report, I show you a U.S. oil and gas driller with massive acreage in America's crown jewel oil field. Right now, I'm looking at a company with huge holdings in drill-friendly Texas, specifically in the Permian Basin, the home of the country's most valuable oil wells. They're a proven producer of oil and gas, and I think they're in a great position to explode with growth as our nation rejects unreliable green energy and returns to American energy. You'll get everything you need to know inside your new report. That's not all. I'm also watching a company that will drive the new American energy revolution. We need more oil and gas rigs, and when American energy takes off again, we'll be desperate for parts. I'm watching a company that supplies specialized components for oil and gas drilling, and I think they're poised for huge growth. They'll be selling the equipment to build and repair rigs, but there's one special reason I think this company is going to win big, because when offshore drilling returns, those equipment packages are huge dollars, and they'll be ready to take advantage of the boom. But will you be with them? Inside the Return of American Energy, I'll show you everything you need to know. Then I'll also show you how we're in a golden age of refiner profit margins. And I'm looking at one refiner positioned for huge gains. Diesel prices are insane right now, and refiners can't keep up with demand, which should keep prices high. But I believe there's one refiner poised to reap the benefits long term, because even if U.S. prices stabilize, this refiner can export diesel to Asia, Europe, wherever it's needed. And I show you every detail you need to get inside the Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie. I show you exactly why I believe the coming energy Armageddon means each of these companies is poised for a massive increase in value, and how you can get in on them now before they go up. But that's still not everything you'll get. There's so much more I have for you. Friend, I believe the Return of American Energy report is your roadmap to not just surviving the coming energy crisis, but seeing your personal wealth grow, even while much of America faces difficult financial times. If that makes you uncomfortable, I understand. But the fact is, most people won't heed this warning. They'll sit back and trust our government to bail them out. You know as well as I do that won't happen. No matter who sits in the White House, the coming disaster can't be stopped. But you don't have to lose. With your private copy of The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie in hand, you can still win, and win big. I want to send you a personal copy today. I'm serious. You'll get the full benefit of my 40 years inside the CIA, Pentagon, Department of Defense, and the White House, helping lead a major investment bank, and using the complexity theory system to help me determine the stocks and other assets that are doomed to fail and those that are more likely poised to explode with growth. You'll have a chance to get in on all of them and see your own wealth grow. Just say yes to this opportunity today, and you won't pay anything for your report. I'll be candid with you. I came from humble roots, and I've made myself a wealthy man. And I want to do the same for those good Americans who recognize the Green New Deal is really the Green New Scam, and who want to profit from the coming disaster the Dems have created. Why should you suffer because of their stupidity? Claim your personal copy of the Return of American Energy report today. Then just follow the step-by-step game plan I've written for you. And sit back, relax, and enjoy the turmoil around you, because you'll be informed, protected, and possibly wealthier than you imagined. Look, America's still a free country. All this is your choice. You can get the report and decide to do nothing at all, or invest just a little to potentially pad your savings. Or you can invest more, recognizing the unique opportunity this crisis holds, learning about the companies I believe are in a unique position to exploit the turmoil, following the plays I outlined for you, and potentially winning big. It might infuriate Biden, AOC, and the Greenies, but there's nothing they can do about you profiting from their mistakes. And you'll be the only one on your block who knows these secrets. Of course, feel free to share them with your most trusted friends and loved ones. They'll be so grateful. And you can relish saving them from the coming energy Armageddon. All you need to do is say yes, Jim, to this special opportunity today. And I'll send you your own personal copy of my new report, The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie. That's right. I've already set aside one copy for you. And I'll explain exactly how to claim it in a moment. But I want to give you one more thing first. Getting in on the Return of American Energy could dramatically improve your personal financial circumstances, but it can't undo every failed Democrat policy. Their runaway spending means inflation is here to stay, and new digital currencies will be a death blow for our privacy and freedoms. No matter what the future holds, I want your wealth protected from every possible angle. And anyone who has followed my career knows I trust the strength of one form of wealth more than any other: gold. Gold is the most stable long-term form of money the world has ever known. Throughout human history, there have been thousands of fiat currencies, paper money. As far as I can tell, 100% of fiat currencies have eventually lost all value. But gold? Gold has been accepted as currency across the globe for more than 5,000 years. And when digital currencies radically alter the world banking system, I'd rather put my faith in 5,000 years of human history. Gold has always increased in value over time, and of course it can't be tracked. That's why I want to send you another report today. It's called The Perfect Physical Gold Portfolio: Everything you need to know about buying the right kind of physical gold. It's 35 pages long, answering everything you need to know, including: is gold safe to invest in? How much should I invest in precious metals? What kind of precious metals should I buy and in what quantities? What kinds of metals should I avoid? What are the best places to buy gold and other precious metals? And what are the best and safest ways to store them to avoid theft or government confiscation? Because of the imminent economic turmoil, and to help you learn to invest in gold before prices potentially skyrocket and it's too late, I've created a way for you to claim a free copy of this report today, so you can have all the information you need to invest in precious metals the right way. But that's not all I want to send you. I just finished writing one more report for you, and this could be the most valuable of all. You see, I've learned of another little appreciated asset that's a liquid form of wealth. It can't be tracked or traced. It's completely legal and easy to find if you know where to look. Over time, its value has steadily grown. But very few people know anything about its investment potential. You're about to be one of the few. I believe you must include this secret asset in any off-the-grid portfolio. I tell you exactly what it is and how to get it in America's secret currency. Get in on the ultimate off-the-grid asset. If you want to keep your wealth hidden away from the government's prying eyes, you'll want to read this report first. When you subscribe to claim all three of your complimentary new reports: free report number 1, The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie; free report number 2, The Perfect Physical Gold Portfolio, Everything you need to know about buying the right kind of physical gold; free report number 3, America's Secret Currency, Get in on the Ultimate Off-Grid Asset. You'll be prepared to ride the wave of new technologies that are poised to explode during the coming energy Armageddon, including how to get in on the best company building small modular nuclear reactors. And while other companies are foolishly abandoning reliable traditional fossil fuels, you'll get the 3 oil, gas, mining, and refining stocks I believe could see huge gains. You'll learn exactly how and why you could win big by investing in all these companies and create an energy portfolio that will have you looking like a genius during the crisis while protecting and even increasing your retirement savings. I'll also show you how to make sure you are covered from every angle by holding the perfect amount of the right kind of gold and investing in America's little appreciated, untraceable liquid asset. With these 3 free reports I'm going to send you today, you'll potentially increase your personal wealth with some specific asset holdings, protect your family during a time when most Americans will struggle, and be in a position of power compared to others who don't have your knowledge. Fact is, you're about to join an elite group of people who know the truth about the coming energy Armageddon and know how to make it work for their own personal advantage. What you've learned today isn't widely known. The media has largely ignored the threat, or they simply don't understand the danger. The American public is being led to the slaughter by clueless Greeniac Dems. But there are some people who are prepared. There are a few Americans whose futures are secured and who are ready to profit from the turmoil. You see, everything you've seen today was first shared with a small private circle of citizens. Every month I take what I've learned from my contacts and connections in the intelligence and global finance communities, and I write it all up in a private issue of a newsletter I call Strategic Intelligence. In Strategic Intelligence, I warn my readers of the coming threats to our economy and our freedoms. In 2008, I predicted the U.S. housing collapse. No one believed me at the time. 3 weeks later, Lehman Brothers went belly up and markets crashed, devastating the retirement savings of millions of Americans. Then, in 2016, the experts were shocked when I predicted Brexit. The media said it could never happen, until I was proved right. Then, despite 99% of polls showing the opposite, I stood outside the Trump Tower the night before the 2016 election and declared that Donald Trump would be our next president. Then in late 2021, several months before the first shots were fired in Ukraine, I alerted readers this war was an almost certainty. It gets bigger. I'm watching the global situation unfold right now that can make all these events seem minor. There's a coming crisis that would bring devastating bank defaults across the world, including here in America. There's more. I'm also hearing early whispers of another military conflict brewing, and this time it's much closer to home. What will this do to the financial markets, your retirement savings, and American global security? Because of my contacts and experience, I have access to certain information that even our own government doesn't know, and I share every detail with my private circle of strategic intelligence readers. But even better than that, I show them how to profit from these events by taking advantage of complexity theory, my revolutionary way of looking at the financial system and stock markets. Complexity theory is unlike anything else out there. Again, I estimate fewer than 10 people in the world know how to apply it. Complexity theory gives me unique insight on exactly how American and global events will play out, what stocks might crash, and what assets could shoot up in value. Complexity theory allowed me to warn my strategic intelligence readers well in advance of the coming collapse and the threats to their wealth and security that are still on the horizon. I use my experience to help show them how to build safe investment positions in stocks, bonds, cash, art, land, precious metals, and other hard assets. Today, I want to extend a personal invitation to you. I'd like you to join my private inner circle of strategic intelligence readers. If you say yes, you'll be privy to the similar secrets, predictions, and advice I usually reserve only for the U.S. intelligence community and my private high net worth clients. My goal with strategic intelligence is to help you profit while others flounder. Every month, I'll write directly to you, keeping you informed and armed on how the energy Armageddon is unfolding. But I go much bigger than that, because I'll also warn you about any potential triggers that may set off an economic or social crisis. And I'll use my complexity theory to give you specific investment recommendations and wealth protection strategies intended to help you increase your wealth, even during major American and global events. Because the other people running our country are clueless, and the energy Armageddon is just the beginning of what's coming in the next 2 to 5 years, my strategic intelligence issues are unlike any other resource on the planet. Only you will be prepared to survive and even thrive in the coming storms. Only you will benefit from insights and advice from 40 years of operating at the highest levels of the government and financial institutions. Each dossier is easy to read and follow, but I don't pull any punches. Strategic intelligence is for Americans who appreciate the uncensored truth, who want to win while weaker thinkers struggle. I believe you're my kind of person. I believe you're poised to profit during the turmoil to come, and I believe you'll never sit back and let the fascists win. So let's do this. Say yes to my invitation. Join my private circle of monthly strategic intelligence readers. I request a small fee to join. It helps cover my time and the expense of mailing each monthly dossier. It's normally $299 a year, which is a bargain for the level of insight you'll gain and the potential profits you'll enjoy. After all, my speaking fee at events is typically $25,000, and my clients don't blink an eye. They know their returns will far outpace that investment. But $299 is not what I'm going to ask you to pay today. The situation is urgent. Biden and the Dems have made a colossal blunder with America's energy future. Your economic security, personal safety, and life savings are now at extreme risk, and I don't want there to be any reason you won't have access to the information you and your family need now. So effective immediately, I'm cutting the regular price by over 75%. Today, I'd like to offer you a full year, 12-issue subscription to my Strategic Intelligence newsletter for just $49. That's an 80% discount. It means for the equivalent of just a few bucks a month, you'll get private insights into threats to your financial security and personal freedoms and wealth-building opportunities most people will never hear about. Plus, I guarantee today's special price will never increase as long as you're a subscriber. Even if I'm forced to raise the price in future, your discounted price is locked in forever. But it gets better, because when you subscribe today, I'll immediately send you 3 free bonus gifts. Free report number 1, The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie, will help ensure you maintain your wealth regardless of external conditions. You'll see how new technology and private investment could send forward traditional energy companies soaring even while most of the economy flounders, and how you can get in on them before the boom. Building your own American energy portfolio now will protect you from the coming energy Armageddon. The collapse is already underway. Before it's too late, protect yourself and your retirement savings. You'll find everything you need in your free report. Note, please share it with your most trusted friends and loved ones. And you'll also immediately get your free report number 2, The Perfect Physical Gold Portfolio. Everything you need to know about buying the right kind of physical gold. 5,000 years of history proves that gold outlasts every other currency. But I believe the coming crash could cause the price of gold to skyrocket. In your second free report, you'll find everything you need to know about investing in gold before the price blasts through the ceiling, including, is gold safe to invest in? How much should I invest in precious metals? What metals should I buy, and what should I avoid? Where are the best places to buy gold and other precious metals? What are the safest ways to store gold to avoid theft or government confiscation? And much more. Finally, you'll get free report number 3, America's Secret Currency. Get in on the ultimate off-the-grid asset. Your new report exposes a little appreciated asset that can't be tracked or traced and has increased in value over time. This secret asset should be part of any off-the-grid portfolio, and in America's Secret Currency, I show you everything you need to know. All 3 reports are my gifts to you simply for giving my strategic intelligence profit-building dossiers a try. And make no mistake, these 3 reports are truly a gift. They're always yours to keep, even if you end up canceling for a full refund. Let me explain. In a moment, you'll have the opportunity to join my private inner circle of strategic intelligence readers. When you do, I'll send you all 3 reports immediately. In fact, you should have them within minutes of subscribing today. Then I'll also start off sending you your exclusive monthly strategic intelligence dossiers the minute I write them. When they arrive in your mailbox, I encourage you to read them right away because some of the best investment opportunities are time sensitive. But make sure the value far exceeds the subscription fee. Make sure you're seeing the chance at real profits on the little-known investment opportunities I recommend to my private subscribers. Make sure the threats and market shakeups I warn you about in advance every month happen as I predicted. And make sure you feel smarter, more secure, more powerful than you did before you subscribed. Take your time. In fact, I want you to take up to a full 6 months of reading your strategic intelligence dossiers. But if during those 6 months you feel that strategic intelligence isn't worth at least 10 times what you paid, I want you to cancel for a full and complete refund. And you get to keep your 3 free reports no matter what. Let me repeat that. When you subscribe today, you'll immediately receive your 3 free reports. Free report number 1, The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie. Free report number 2, The Perfect Physical Gold Portfolio, everything you need to know about buying the right kind of physical gold. Free report number 3, America's Secret Currency, Get in on the ultimate off-the-grid asset. And you'll also get my private monthly newsletter, Strategic Intelligence, where you'll find my ongoing insights using complexity theory on exactly how the coming energy Armageddon could play out, what stocks might fall, and what assets could rocket up in price, and how to build investment positions in stocks, bonds, cash, art, land, precious metals, and other hard assets while outsmarting Biden and the greenies, and so much more. Of course, if at any time during the first 6 months you feel strategic intelligence is not worth many times what you paid, just request a full refund and I'll be happy to oblige. Plus, you keep all of your issues and all of your free gifts, even if you refund. No questions asked, no fine print. Just honest, honorable business, the way things used to be done in our country. It doesn't get any fairer than that, does it? I'm taking the risk because it's that important you prepare now to defeat the Dems and win during the coming energy Armageddon. And speaking of risk, that brings me to one more gift I have for you today. I predict things are about to get even uglier in our country. A major energy crisis and skyrocketing bills will bring unrest in a way we haven't seen in more than 50 years, or maybe ever. When that happens, protecting your money won't be enough. You may need to save your family and property too. That's why I reached out to a colleague and friend, Jason Hansen. Jason is a former CIA operative. He won the CIA Exceptional Performance Award not once, but twice. That's about all I'm allowed to say about his past experience, if you catch my meaning. These days, Jason teaches no-holds-barred defense techniques to celebrities, top business executives, and other high-profile targets. He's a mild-mannered, unassuming guy. You'd like him. But when the stuff hits the fan, Jason is positively lethal. If you're ever in a crisis, you want someone like him on your side. That's why I asked Jason if he would develop a personal survival guide for the storm that's brewing. And what he delivered exceeded all my expectations. Jason created a full survival guide called How to Make Your Home Your Personal Fortress. He held nothing back. In this uncensored guide, you'll discover pro-defense techniques like how to implement the CIA's 4 concentric rings of defense to make your home hell on earth for an intruder, how and why to safely hide a firearm on every level of your house, the simple tool that turns your front door into an impenetrable barrier. Then, do you have this very common door lock? If so, change it immediately. You'll see why in your new report. It's important. Don't believe you can afford your own panic room? Think again. He shows you how to build and equip a devastating defense headquarters inside your home for just a few $100. Jason also included the 6 steps to survive a societal level event that lasts for weeks or months. He even shows you a secret for sourcing top quality survival food for much less than you're paying now. One of my personal favorite chapters is when Jason reveals covert spy secrets for moving undetected at night. With these secrets, you will confidently walk inner city streets or any other unfamiliar environment. Finally, Jason shares the most important information of all: how to defend your family and property against multiple intruders. This section gets intense, but there's nothing pretty about facing a group of thugs who want to do your family harm. Once someone has entered your home, they've abandoned any expectation of mercy. And with the firefighting techniques Jason shows you here, they'll regret ever crossing your property line immediately. These are still just a few of the spy-level secrets in how to make your home your personal fortress. Under Jason's guidance, you and your loved ones will never be victims. And that's why I'm including the How to Make Your Home Your Personal Fortress as a 4th free report when you subscribe today. Again, when you subscribe to Strategic Intelligence, you'll get 12 months, 12 issues of my private Strategic Intelligence dossiers, plus free report number 1, The Return of American Energy, Profit from the Green Lie. Free report number 2, The Perfect Physical Gold Portfolio, everything you need to know about buying the right kind of physical gold. Free report number 3, America's Secret Currency, Get in on the ultimate off-the-grid asset. Bonus, free report number 4, How to Make Your Home Your Personal Fortress by former CIA officer Jason Hansen. Each of your 4 free reports will be waiting in your inbox just minutes from now, and you'll never take any risk. You can ask for a full no questions asked refund at any time during the first 6 months, and you keep all of your Strategic Intelligence dossiers and all 4 of your bonus reports, no matter what. But there's one final thing. You must act now. If you know anything about Zuckerberg, Google, and big tech, you'll know what I've told you today is exactly the kind of thing they love to shut down. This message could disappear at any time, and this special half-price offer can't last. So please, accept my personal invitation now. Are you ready? Ready to win while many Americans suffer? Ready to sidestep Biden's energy Armageddon because you'll know a better way? Ready to not just survive the coming storm, but potentially grow your personal wealth? Ready to increase your power and prestige, holding valuable knowledge others don't have? Ready to protect your home and family, no matter what events unfold in America? That's what you'll get today in your Strategic Intelligence dossiers and 4 free reports. Okay, it's time. Time for you to decide how the coming energy Armageddon crisis plays out for you. Will you become a victim of government stupidity, or are you a person of action? Will you choose to win while others lose by increasing your personal wealth, security, and power? Right now there's a button under this presentation. It says Next Step. Go ahead and press that button now. When you do, you'll be taken to a secure encrypted reservation page. There you can tell me exactly where to send your 4 free reports. Remember, you take no risk at all. You can cancel for a full 100% refund anytime in the first 6 months, and you'll keep all of your Strategic Intelligence issues and all 4 reports, no matter what. Press the button below now, and I'll meet you on the other side. Thank you for spending this time with me today. For Strategic Intelligence, I'm Jim Rickards. Press the button below to claim your 4 free reports.